Hi, everyone. Elisa Keaton, the founder of this ministry, Revelation Wellness, the author of that book, The Wellness Revelation. What day is it? It's Wednesday afternoon, and I wanted to take some time to come back and continue the conversation that we started last week. I did a podcast, these turn into podcasts for those of you in Facebook world that would like to know that, but I love to come over here on Facebook because I could actually engage and see where you guys are and comment and come back and answer questions, which I really like that too. So where are you right now? I'd love to know where you are and what you're doing. It's crazy when we get people posting from like halfway around the world, in which I have to ask, why are you up right now? Aren't you supposed to be sleeping? But my name's Elisa Keaton, and last week we talked about anger and body neglect. So here is what you need to know. To know us at Revelation Wellness is to know that we're always talking about the bigger story. The world will try to tell you, hi Jessica. The world will try to tell you that it's really just about this small thing and to compartmentalize. And if you just focus and if you really pay attention to that thing, it'll get better. And you know what? That is true. I can't neglect that. That's super true. But here's what the world often forgets is that we're integrated people. We're diverse and we're integrated. And did you know the healthiest brains, the part of the healthiest mind, your mind is super diverse. There's all kinds of things going on at one time. You have a part of your mind that's a feeler and then a thinker, and then there's input and there's sensory, and there's a lot of diversity going on in your mind. But the healthiest mind is functioning very diversely, but also very integrated. So there's a connection. It's not compartmentalized. Amen? All right, so we know. Hi, it's so good. Hi, Carrie. I really should have my glasses. Minnesota. We have to acknowledge that we're living in a time where we can be very scattered about. And so I'm hoping right now, if you're listening and this is something that matters to you, you want to heal. You want to heal, you want to change, you want to get better. Here's what you want. You want to stop doing the same thing that you always do. I think it's good. We have to be able to acknowledge that we keep doing the same thing we don't want to do, that there's patterns of behavior in us that lead to kind of some stressful dysfunction in our life. And here's the good news, everyone. Just because your parents did it and your parents' parents did it doesn't mean you have to. It doesn't mean you... Don't ever say, well, this is just how I am, or this is just who I am. You're not what you do. You're not what you do, right? Because shame is something we all have to battle with. Shame is something that's very popular right now to talk about. And here's the truth. Brené Brown is amazing. She's awesome. She wasn't the first to talk about shame. Actually, 25 years prior to Brené Brown, there was another psychologist and neurologist that said this is a shame thing. And what happened, it made a big explosion at that time too. And people were willing to talk about it and come out, which we're doing now. But then the thing about shame is it hides itself again. It doesn't just, all right, we've dealt with shame. We never have to deal with it for all humanity time. No, because the brain, again, it's meant to stay integrated, but it will disintegrate. It will stop connecting if we... Sorry, guys. Everyone tell Leah Parker to please stop calling me. If we don't stay integrated with ourselves, and then it becomes generational. We think these are things we have to teach our kids. These are things, that's why biblically the Lord says, don't forget these things. Revisit them. Revisit the basics. We tend to evolve and think, I've got that covered. No, we have to revisit the basics. And sometimes it's just going back to feeling what you feel and knowing what you know. And actually, it always goes back to that. God is interested in relationship with you, in the diversity of who you are to have relationships. So diversity and integration, that's what we do here at Revelation Wellness. Your body, the physical matter seems super... What does that have to do with my spiritual matter? It has everything to do with it. Everything. So we're going to talk some more today about healing your brain, especially if anger is something that you battle. Now, here's the thing. I think everyone has anger. It's just a matter of what do you do with it. Anger expressed outward, you get big, you use words, you say things you don't mean. People actually even will see red. They literally see red because of capillaries behind their eyes that is in their ocular nerve will bust behind the eye. And so people can see red. You won't remember what you said sometimes. You're absolutely it's an unconscious behavior. It's so embedded in your limbic brain, which is to protect yourself. Anger is not a bad emotion. It's there to protect that which is good. It's not being angry. It's how and what we do with anger that's a problem. Everyone has a sense of anger moved outward, or there's anger moved inward, which often looks more like depression, hopelessness, shame looks that way. See, my shame tends to come on the backside of the anger. Like I get big and then the shame comes. So do you hear me? There's no way out of the shame that is there. It's going to come, but we can heal, friends. In Jesus' name, we can heal. Our brains, our minds can do this. And not just, neuroscience is teaching this now. I'm saying it. Hey, listen, church, rise up, because the world is getting healthy. And they're using these very common truth science to go, oh, wow, look, our brains can get better. But they're excusing the spiritual factor. They're excusing that it has anything to do about more than just think good thoughts and pray good, and have good wishes and do good things, and life will do that. And you know what? There's a truth to that. Because you reap what you sow. If you're a good person who reaps or sows good seed, you're going to reap good things. But it all terminates on themselves, because we're made for eternity. The reason you long for a love that never ends, and a beauty that never fades, and a world that doesn't hurt, and a pain that will go away is because it exists. That's C.S. Lewis. I love that quote, and it's true. The reason you hunger for more is because more exists. And it's the people that go, nah, I'm going to stop right there. I'm just going to think good thoughts and make my brain better. That's good, but we can do more, church. We can do more. And that's what I'm passionate about, that we can not just be changed, but then become a change. And so we have boots on the ground, and let's do this love thing. Let's do this kindness thing. Let's do this thing. Let's do truth. Let's stand in truth. And that means sometimes you're not going to be really well loved, but first establish love. You cannot deliver truth if love has not been established. All right. So, I could go in all directions about this, but we talked about it last week. So go to the podcast if you don't have any groundwork for this, because this is part 2. Go to a few episodes back. I think it's episode 271 or 272, and it's called Anger and Body Neglect. Listen to that. I talked about it and what it does. And then this week we had a podcast, a Revving the Word, that went out. So Revving the Word, you guys, it's put it on, move your body. Go for a walk, go for a hike. Try to move your body consistently, because there is neuroscience that when we move our body, chemicals get released that aid the healing process, that aid optimal thinking and reasoning and high brain function. It just because you exercise. That's why all brain scientists will say exercise is really, really good for you. Not because you can fit in your jeans and you cut your abs up. It has nothing to do with that. There's just this healthy part of our life. God created our bodies to work when resistance happens. As we lean into it, the body releases this grace of hormones to go, okay, keep breathing. We can do this. Endurance, perseverance, keep going. You're made for that. That's why when you quit, it feels good initially, like, oh, I'm done. But then you kind of later go, man, I quit. I could have kept going. Had I not quit, how far would I have made it, right? That's always because you're made for more. You're made to keep going, keep pressing in. So I did a Revving the Word on Friday, or on Monday, a release called Anger and Desire. So listen to that, and go move your body. That'll talk you through more kind of getting to the soul place of, why do I have anger? What is it in me that wars against me? And why do I have relationships that seem to explode and break and not last? And all those things, right? So this is you just being real with you, and me being real with you as well. So go listen to that. And now today we're going to continue the conversation, because I told you I want to give you something to try. And I think we're headed to Revelation Wellness Instructor Training Retreat like next week, so I won't have time to do this, but I'm going to put it on my desk to do it, where I'm going to actually create a workshop podcast where you'll have to actually do what I'm about to talk about, and I'll foster and facilitate the experience. But today I want to talk about it, give you the tools. Maybe you can I hope you start practicing at home, especially, again, if you just want to heal your brain. You want to become the person that you see glimpses of, that you hope to be. You can do it. You can do this, but it does take focus and attention. That's where we left off last week. You have to focus, give it attention, and repeat it. Repeat the pattern. So today, I want to give you a little bit more in depth. And now this doesn't just mean you have to focus and have attention. You have to go to a higher place of empathy, of being able to have a brain, a prefrontal medial cortex, that can have compassion and empathy, not only for yourself, because you do need to have it for yourself, because the reason you do the things that you don't want to do has something to do with something that was done to you or not done for you. Somebody sinned against you because you are alive, and to be alive is to be sinned against. To be alive is to be wronged. Welcome to the human race, I tell my kids. My kids are always fighting for fair. It's not fair. It's not fair. I'm like, just forget fair. Stop fighting for fair because it's a waste of time. Fight the good fight of faith. Optimistic thinking and reasoning and having compassion and empathy for the person that you are having this altercation with. James 4:1 says, "Don't you know what causes the quarrels among you? It's the desires within you." So when I don't get whatever it is that I needed or quote unquote deserved, and some of them are true. If you were abandoned, rejected, your basic needs didn't get met, nobody loved you, whatever it is, it happened, and that's true. But we can heal from it through compassion and empathy, not just focus and attention. Like, okay, I want to focus my attention on my anger. I want to be aware of it. I want to be aware, again, if yours is an anger, insert something else there, whatever it might be. Insecurity, cynical thinking, unbelief, whatever it is. But I'm talking specifically to those who have just feel that sense of anger, and you do things you don't want to do. And anger is dangerous. To not get angry, to go inward on myself is depression. That's kind of safe because then I don't risk hurting somebody else. But it really is detrimental to me. The anger moved inward is really almost, it's harder to heal for anger moved inward than anger moved outward. Because at least anger moved outward, you get some feedback from people going, hey, that kind of sucked. Or you get some feedback because you're interacting in a world that is relational. You're meant to be relational. Hey, by the way, I see you guys sharing. Thanks for sharing this right now on Facebook and commenting, liking, whatever you do. It does. Maybe you know someone who you'd be like, yeah, they're an angry person. They need to hear this teaching. And then point back at yourself, right? Because when I have a problem with you, there's a problem in me. I say it all the time. I have to tell myself, I got a problem with someone. Okay, what's the problem in me first? Let me find that, so that I'm a good steward of my anger. Anger, it's emotions. Emotions are good servants and terrible masters. Emotions, they serve you well. Know them. Don't judge them. There that is. But they cannot be the dictator of what to do next. They're terrible masters. All right. So, empathy and compassion. That's like the way of the cross. That's the rugged way to go. Not just, I'm going to think kind thoughts. I'm going to say kind things. Like it has to go beyond, because we are relational people. So empathy and compassion, that goes to the next place of true and deeper healing, is be able to think outside of yourself. And we know that's the greatest commandment. Love God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. First commandment, work on that first. Figure out what's going on inside of you. But then love others as you love yourself. So it does come back to this next place of healing moved into a relational place. All right, so I've told you there's a book, Healing the Angry Brain. I encourage for anyone who just wants to get honest about it. Mentioned last week, right? The church kind of shames if you're an angry woman, like, name of Jesus. Just, right? The world is championing that, saying, yeah, get big, get loud, women, let's be heard. And then the church kind of shames it, and you feel shame about it, where there's a creative third way. We don't have to do either one of those. There's a creative third way where we can feel what we feel and know what we know without causing more anger, pain. It's like throwing fire on a burning trash can. Like, why throw gasoline in a burning trash can? That's what often like that. And hey, there's places to just let it out, but be careful on who and where you do it and how it could affect. Be thoughtful, empathetic, and compassion. So the book, Healing the Angry Brain, and this is actually straight off of a man called Stephen Stosny. He wrote this, it's trademarked, and it's called Heals. So not only do you want to focus and do repetition of like, okay, I'm going to focus my mind on what am I feeling, what am I thinking. I'm going to repeat being aware of what I'm thinking and feeling and wanting to do new things. But now you have to actually put things into practice, into empathy and compassion, going and thinking outside of yourself. So Stephen Stosny wrote this, and compassion is the natural ability to care for others. Natural ability. We all have it. You all have it. You have it. If you're here on Facebook, you have it because you have relationship on Facebook. You like having friends. You want to have relationship. And I would say real empathy, this is my definition, is the ability to hold another's pain and feel another's hurt. It's just the ability to hold it long enough. You don't have to like store it and care for it and visit it, but it's the ability to like, let me put the weight of their pain in my heart or in my hands for just a minute. Just that alone, that ability begins to shift your brain, your ability to move out of your limbic brain, your reptile part of your brain back here up into your prefrontal medial cortex, where endorphins are released, where dopamine is released, where pleasure is released. It's an empathy place. As much as we go, I don't want to do that, it actually can heal us to just begin to think at a higher place, to hold others' pain, to feel others' hurt. There's actually neurons in the brain called mirror neurons. I'm going to do a whole teaching on that because it's so fascinating. It's true, and I've experienced this firsthand. But mirror neurons are what give us the ability. It's why you see someone sitting sad, you immediately go, gosh, they look sad. You can feel it. Or if you see someone else joy and happy, it's that contagious, connected ability. You mirror it. You just, whether or not you want to, it happens. I was telling my daughter this last night. Your family is only as happy as the saddest person there, right? Like the saddest person in a room can really feel and pull it down because it's not like we're trying, but our neurons in our brain mirror that. We see it, and then we have to fight for how can I not fall into despair when I really want to have joy. That's why the most influential person in the room is the person with the most hope and joy. They're the most influential. They're the ones who swing the atmosphere and the tides in another direction. They have power. And we have that. We have to choose it. And if I can't choose it without it feeling authentic, then there's something in me that I need to heal. And God comes and mirrors me. He'll come and sit in my posture of sadness with me. He'll come and sit in my anger with me. He's the God that gave me neurons that mirror because he is reflecting his glory to us all the time and saying, I'll reflect this with you. I'll mirror with you. Let's talk about it. So anger is one of these that requires the empathy. I'll give you a story and then I'm going to go through this practical steps of heals. Just because I think context is really, really good. My son was at I don't know where he was. He was supposed to come home on a Friday night. I thought he was coming home after school. And then I would see him, usually around 5 or 6. Well, he didn't come home after school one day. And so I began to kind of panic, a little bit. Well, I figured he's probably out. He's kind of, he's working up here on empathy and compassion. He's super linear. He's very, he's super smart, really, really smart. It's like his father. But like the ability to think what others are thinking and feel what others are feeling, it's not at all a strong suit. And I get it. He's a teenager too. So all the mothers with teenagers, high five emoji. But we're working on it, right? And so he, didn't come. It was 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. And I just kept thinking, he'll come home 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. And I hadn't seen him since I left the morning when he left for school. And he has a car now and he's driving, so he's got independence. So I didn't, I just kind of sat, and it was a Friday night and my daughter and I were like, and my husband was working that night. So I'm like, where is he? So around 8 o'clock at night, I send him a text. Now here we go with texting, right? Because texts connect us. And he didn't get back to me. And then that was weird to me because I had waited. I'm like, okay, he's going to text. And then I texted again, nothing. Then the mama brain goes where, everyone? The limbic part of my brain started to kick in. And I started just think, what could have happened? Like, where could he be? And the fact that he wouldn't get back to, it's not like him because he's very responsible. So I thought, what? And next thing you know, I'm cleaning counters and I'm cleaning up stuff, which my daughter said to me, hey, Mom, are you okay? I go, why? She goes, well, you seem a little on edge. I go, and then I had to realize, oh, I'm anxious about, I haven't heard from Jack. Is he okay? So I send another text, Jack. And then I'm like, okay, I'm just going to be annoying now, like wherever he is, right? And I did. I sent like a text. 30 seconds later, another text. Because in my mind, being honest, he's dead in the trunk of a car somewhere, right? Like my fearful brain goes to, I would rather go hard and annoy him and know he's okay than to like trust and not get so crazy. So I'm going, finally, he calls me and his response to me, he goes, Mom, I'm in the middle, like he was in a movie theater, seeing a movie with his friends, but he was rude to me, like he was rude. And he was as if like I should know better because he's in a theater and he's super rule follower. So So you know how it says no texting in a theater? Like he doesn't text. And the phone could be blowing up and he won't pick it up because that's against the rule. And so by the time I'm lighting up his phone and his friends are like, dude, get the phone. And so he gets it. And do we see the perfect storm here? Do we see the James 4:1? What causes the quarrels among you? It's the desires within you. My desire was to know, are you okay? Where are you? And then his desire is, leave me alone. I'm with my friends and you're bothering me. And then crash. Like we were off and running. So I share that story, 1, because I'd like to know I'm not alone. Okay. And 2, to show you the perfect storm of how it happens. Now, I'm going to work with you through heals. Here's what it would look like for me to be better with what I was feeling. So you can practice this. You have to this is like practicing your pain. The more you practice this type of process of going through someone that's hurt you, then you'll be able to heal your brain. And then the next time another situation comes up, you won't act quite as quickly in the same way, but you do have to repetition. The brain is saying, let's do new pathways, but you gotta train me. So when you are in an altercation with someone, or you've had one, and you now need to process and think through it, the word heals should come to mind. Heals. So if you're taking notes, write this down. Heals comes to mind. You write that down. So the first thing you want to do, what I should have done with my son in that moment, is to see the word heals flash over his face. This is Steve Stonesy's steps, but just to see the word heals over their face, and especially if it's like you're with them face to face, just flash the word heals over their face. And I like that. I used to practice something like that as well when it came to my parents. But, flesh, you want to see that word heals over their face. That's what H stands for. So just let the word heals come up. As soon as you're on the moving train, heals. The E, the next thing you want to do is experience your hurt. So go ahead and feel what you're feeling. Experience your hurt. That night, I wasn't experiencing my hurt. I was getting anxious. I just let the thing go, and that's why it started ramping up. I wasn't modulating, which is another part of a healthy emotion. That's the second phase of an emotion. An emotion, first of all, activates. It comes online. And the second part is to modulate the emotion. You have to be able to go, okay, how bad is this? Regulate, modulate it, and don't let it just take off. Because without modulation, it will just take off. So I have to be able to experience, and so I have to know what I know and think what I'm thinking. I just was like thinking crazy things. I just went into an extreme place, right? So you have to experience your hurt. The A stands for access your core values. Boom. This is where it changes now. So feel what you feel, know what you know. A, access your core values. You have to be able to go, okay, what's true? What's true? My core values are biblically based and founded upon primarily like